Chapter 21. Hormah. The Canaanite king of Arad, ruling in the Negev, heard that Israel was advancing up the road to Atharim. He attacked Israel and took prisoners of war. Israel vowed a vow to God. If you will give this people into our power, we'll destroy their towns and present the ruins to you as a holy destruction. God listened to Israel's prayer and gave them the Canaanites. They destroyed both them and their towns, a holy destruction. They named the place Hormah, holy destruction. The snake of fiery copper. They set out from Mount Hor along the Red Sea Road, a detour around the land of Edom. The people became irritable and cross as they traveled. They spoke out against God and Moses. Why did you drag us out of Egypt to die in this God-forsaken country? No decent food, no water. We can't stomach this stuff any longer. So God sent poisonous snakes among the people. They bit them, and many in Israel died. The people came to Moses and said, "We sinned when we spoke out against God and you. Pray to God, ask him to take these snakes from us." Moses prayed for the people. God said to Moses, "Make a snake and put it on a flagpole. Whoever is bitten and looks at it will live." So Moses made a snake of fiery copper and put it on top of a flagpole. Anyone bitten by a snake, who then looked at the copper snake, lived. Camping on the way to Moab. The people of Israel set out and camped at Oboth. They left Oboth and camped at Iyeabarim, in the wilderness that faces Moab, on the east. They went from there and pitched camp at the Zered Valley. Their next camp was alongside the Arnon River, which marks the border between Amorite country and Moab. The Book of the Wars of God refers to this place. Wahab and Suphah, the canyons of Arnon, along the canyon ravines that lead to the village Ar, and lean hard against the border of Moab. They went on to Beer, the well, where God said to Moses, "Gather the people, I'll give them water." That's where Israel sang this song. Erupt well, sing the song of the well sunk by princes, dug out by the people's leaders, digging with their scepters and staffs. From the wilderness, their route went from Mattanah to Nahaliel to Bamoth, the heights, to the valley that opens into the fields of Moab, from where Pisgah, the summit, rises and overlooks Jeshimon, wasteland. Israel sent emissaries to Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, "Let us cross your land. We won't trespass into your fields or drink water in your vineyards. We'll keep to the main road, the king's road, until we're through your land." But Sihon wouldn't let Israel go through. Instead, he got his army together and marched into the wilderness to fight Israel. At Jahaz, he attacked Israel. But Israel fought hard, beat him soundly, and took possession of his land from the Arnon all the way to the Jabbok, right up to the Ammonite border. They stopped there because the Ammonite border was fortified. Israel took and occupied all the Amorite cities, including Heshbon and all its surrounding villages. Heshbon was the capital city of Sihon, king of the Amorites. He had attacked the former king of Moab and captured all his land as far north as the river Arnon. That's why the folk singers sing, "Come to Heshbon to rebuild the city, restore Sihon's town." Fire once poured out of Heshbon, flames from the city of Sihon, burning up Ar of Moab, the natives of Arnon's heights. Doom, Moab, the people of Chemosh done for. Sons turned out as fugitives, daughters abandoned as captives, to the king of the Amorites, to Sihon. Oh, but we finished them off. Nothing left of Heshbon as far as Dibon. Devastation as far off as Nophah. Scorched earth all the way to Medeba. Israel moved in and lived in Amorite country. Moses sent men to scout out Jazer. They captured its villages and drove away the Amorites who lived there. Then they turned north on the road to Bashan. Og, king of Bashan, marched out with his entire army to meet Moses in battle at Edrei. God said to Moses, "Don't be afraid of him. I'm making a present of him to you, him and all his people and his land. Treat him the same as Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon." So they attacked him, his sons, and all the people. There was not a single survivor. Israel took the land. Chapter 22. Balaam. The people of Israel marched on and camped on the plains of Moab at Jordan Jericho. Balak, son of Zippor, learned of all that Israel had done to the Amorites. The people of Moab were in a total panic because of Israel. There were so many of them, they were terrorized. Moab spoke to the leaders of Midian. "Look, this mob is going to clean us out, a bunch of crows picking a carcass clean." Balak, son of Zippor, who was king of Moab at that time, sent emissaries to get Balaam, son of Beor, who lived at Pethor on the banks of the Euphrates River, his homeland. Balak's emissaries said, "Look, a people has come up out of Egypt, and they're all over the place, and they're pressing hard on me. Come and curse them for me. They're too much for me. Maybe then I can beat them. We'll attack and drive them out of the country. You have a reputation. Those you bless, stay blessed. Those you curse, stay cursed." The leaders of Moab and Midian were soon on their way, with the fee for the cursing tucked safely in their wallets. When they got to Balaam, they gave him Balak's message. "Stay here for the night," Balaam said. "In the morning, I'll deliver the answer that God gives me." The Moabite nobles stayed with him. Then God came to Balaam. He asked, "So who are these men here with you?" Balaam answered, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent them with a message. Look, the people that came up out of Egypt are all over the place. Come and curse them for me. Maybe then I'll be able to attack and drive them out of the country." God said to Balaam, "Don't go with them, and don't curse the others. They are a blessed people." The next morning, Balaam got up and told Balak's nobles, "Go back home. God refuses to give me permission to go with you." So the Moabite nobles left, came back to Balak, and said, "Balaam wouldn't come with us." Balak sent another group of nobles, higher ranking and more distinguished. They came to Balaam and said, "Balak, son of Zippor, says, 'Please, don't refuse to come to me. I will honor and reward you lavishly. Anything you tell me to do, I'll do. I'll pay anything. Only come and curse this people." Balaam answered Balak's servants, "Even if Balak gave me his house stuffed with silver and gold, I wouldn't be able to defy the orders of my God to do anything, whether big or little. But come along and stay with me tonight, as the others did. I'll see what God will say to me this time." God came to Balaam that night and said, "Since these men have come all this way to see you, go ahead and go with them, but make sure you do absolutely nothing other than what I tell you." Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went off with the nobleman from Moab. As he was going, though, God's anger flared. The angel of God stood in the road to block his way. Balaam was riding his donkey, accompanied by his two servants. When the donkey saw the angel blocking the road and brandishing a sword, she veered off the road into the ditch. Balaam beat the donkey and got her back on the road. But as they were going through a vineyard with a fence on either side, the donkey again saw God's angel blocking the way and veered into the fence, crushing Balaam's foot against the fence. Balaam hit her again. God's angel blocked the way yet again. A very narrow passage this time. There was no getting through on the right or left. Seeing the angel, Balaam's donkey sat down under him. Balaam lost his temper. He beat the donkey with his stick. Then God gave speech to the donkey. She said to Balaam, "What have I ever done to you that you have beat me these 3 times?" Balaam said, "Because you've been playing games with me. If I had a sword, I would have killed you by now." The donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your trusty donkey, on whom you've ridden for years right up until now? Have I ever done anything like this to you before? Have I?" He said, "No." Then God helped Balaam see what was going on. He saw God's angel blocking the way, brandishing a sword. Balaam fell to the ground, his face in the dirt. God's angel said to him, "Why have you beaten your poor donkey these 3 times? I have come here to block your way because you're getting way ahead of yourself. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If she hadn't, I would have killed you by this time. But not the donkey. I would have let her off." Balaam said to God's angel, "I have sinned. I had no idea you were standing in the road blocking my way. If you don't like what I'm doing, I'll head back." But God's angel said to Balaam, Go ahead and go with them, but only say what I tell you to say. Absolutely no other word." And so Balaam continued to go with Balak's nobles. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him in the Moabite town that was on the banks of the Arnon, right on the boundary of his land. Balak said to Balaam, "Didn't I send an urgent message for help? Why didn't you come when I called? Do you think I can't pay you enough?" Balaam said to Balak, "Well, I'm here now, but I can't tell you just anything. I can speak only words that God gives me, no others." Balaam then accompanied Balak to Kiriath-Huzoth, street town. Balak slaughtered cattle and sheep for sacrifices and presented them to Balaam and the nobles who were with him. At daybreak, Balak took Balaam up to Bamoth-Baal, the heights of Baal, so that he could get a good view of some of the people. Chapter 23. Balaam said, "Build me 7 altars here, and then prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams." Balak did it. Then Balaam and Balak sacrificed a bull and a ram on each of the altars. Balaam instructed Balak, "Stand watch here beside your whole burnt offering, while I go off by myself. Maybe God will come and meet with me. Whatever he shows or tells me, I'll report to you." Then he went off by himself. God did meet with Balaam. Balaam said, "I've set up 7 altars and offered a bull and a ram on each altar." Then God gave Balaam a message. "Return to Balak and give him this message." He went back and found him stationed beside his whole burnt offering, and with him all the nobles of Moab. Then Balaam spoke his message oracle. "Balak led me here from Aram, the king of Moab, all the way from the eastern mountains. Go, curse Jacob for me. Go, damn Israel. How can I curse whom God has not cursed? How can I damn whom God has not damned? From rock pinnacles I see them. From hilltops I survey them. Look, a people camping off by themselves, thinking themselves outsiders among nations. But who could ever count the dust of Jacob, or take a census of cloud of dust Israel? I want to die like these right-living people. I want an end just like theirs." Balak said to Balaam, "What's this? I brought you here to curse my enemies, and all you've done is bless them?" Balaam answered, "Don't I have to be careful to say what God gives me to say?" Balak said to him, "Go with me to another place from which you can only see the outskirts of their camp. You won't be able to see the whole camp. From there, curse them for my sake." So he took him to Watchman's Meadow at the top of Pisgah. He built 7 altars there and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Balaam said to Balak, "Take up your station here beside your whole burnt offering, while I meet with him over there." God met with Balaam and gave him a message. He said, "Return to Balak and give him the message." Balaam returned and found him stationed beside his whole burnt offering and the nobles of Moab with him. Balak said to him, "What did God say?" Then Balaam spoke his message oracle. "On your feet, Balak. Listen. Listen carefully, son of Zippor. God is not man, one given to lies, and not a son of man changing his mind. Does he speak and not do what he says? Does he promise and not come through? I was brought here to bless, and now he's blessed. How can I change that? He has no bone to pick with Jacob. He sees nothing wrong with Israel. God is with them, and they're with him, shouting praises to their king. God brought them out of Egypt, rampaging like a wild ox. No magic spells can bind Jacob. No incantations can hold back Israel. People will look at Jacob and Israel and say, 'What a great thing has God done.' Look, a people rising to its feet, stretching like a lion, a king of the beasts, aroused, unsleeping, unresting until its hunt is over, and it's eaten and drunk its fill." Balak said to Balaam, "Well, if you can't curse them, at least don't bless them." Balaam replied to Balak, "Didn't I tell you earlier, all God speaks, and only what he speaks, I speak?" Balak said to Balaam, "Please, let me take you to another place. Maybe we can find the right place in God's eyes where you'll be able to curse them for me." So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor, with a vista over the Jeshimon wasteland. Balaam said to Balak, "Build 7 altars for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for sacrifice." Balak did it and presented an offering of a bull and a ram on each of the altars.